There we go, folks. We are back, and wow, Chris, hats off, man. Again, if I had a hat on, I would doff it to you. That was no, that was a fabulous piece of work. And listen, do you do your own videos? I mean, is that like production company stuff? I mean, you have got a real eye for making videos, Chris. Honestly.
Yeah, usually what I'll do is I'll put a screenplay together,
Yeah.
and there's a local company here that they create business videos, and I had worked with them in the past, and they helped me with these, and yeah, so I would say they do it for money, so they're professional.
No, absolutely fantastic. It gives the content the kind of approach that many of us in the chat room really appreciate. Not only are you bringing the science to all of this as well, but you're doing it in a really professional manner. And something like the Mandela effect, I mean, I've been laughed at before. Some people, they don't get it, they don't experience it, and I'm okay with that. But I want to thank you, from a geeky point of view, first of all, because you are trying to approach this with science. You're trying to really explain it and how it ties in with everything else. And, this is so far removed from the career that you come from, Chris, and you've really, I can't thank you enough for the work you're doing in this field. Talk about a positive insertion, my friend. I tell you, that is what you are.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Big time. You must know that yourself, though. You must appreciate that with the stuff you talk about, people that come across what you're doing. I mean, that must be a marker, some of the things that you're doing out there.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to approach me just a few years ago and say, would I be doing anything like this at all? I would have been like, you're crazy. No way. I've got my little software business, and I'm going to stay focused with that, and I'm good. I don't want to I don't want to go beyond that, but I'm finding that I'm really passionate about this. And let me tell you, there's so many subjects to talk about. It affects so many different things. And then when you reach a level of awareness, then you know there's even more going on beyond what's outside of our perceptions, and then it makes everything else make sense. So I can't wait to do more and more and more about these, so that people will they'll have those aha moments, oh, that's why that happened that way, and then they understand it. So I really, it's a lot of fun.
How do your peers react to your new line of work? Other CEOs, people that you rub shoulders with, how have they taken to this?
You know what? It's interesting because there's actually a 3-day seminar that's going on right now that I was part of, just as an observer, just someone that's part of it. It was in Toronto, but because of what's going on, they had to cancel it, and they made it all of a remote type of a thing. It's a lot of business leaders. They call it. It's called the Archangel Masters, etc. And in any event, I found that there's very few business people that are kind of awakened or have begun their awakening process. They're still very rooted into 3D, gotta sell, whatever it is. They're really still stuck in that part. And part of what I want to do also is to let business people awaken to how they can actually prosper, because there are so many things that we don't even realize. For example, when a CEO of a company becomes awakened and they begin to tap into something called abundance, instead of the typical business model where you're always, I can only be successful if I take something from you. If I take money from you, then I'll have it. And then guess what? That'll satisfy me for a little while. Then I got to keep taking more money from you. But when you approach things a different way, and you become the next level of, I'll say, a human, which we're all in the process of doing, and you can turn on that abundance, then you just start spreading the abundance. Your clients start observing it, and they spread abundance back to you, and it just happens in a completely different way than the way it happens now. And that's one of those things that I want to teach to business people. And a lot of them are that I talk to, they're kind of haunted.
So I would imagine, like you said in your video there, your attention, what you really give your consciousness to. I would imagine people in that world are very much part of the nuts and bolts of the industry or the system that they're a part of, right? And their focus of attention is really near enough 90% on that. A lot of the stuff going on around them, oblivious, okay? But it makes them good at their job. That's why they're CEOs. Maybe just a shift of attention is what they need.
Yeah, to a certain extent. A lot of times, though, they miss the big things. They miss how the industries will all of a sudden change, like what Steve Jobs did with the iPhone when that first came out so many years ago. That just changed the whole business model. So it's all of that thinking, like way outside of the box, that I kind of embrace. That's going to bring big breakthroughs. And I think that because of all of this awakening that people are going through, it's inevitable. There's going to be some really cool stuff coming out. There's so many intelligent people that are tapping into this creativity genius mode. I really think in the next, like within 10 years, it's going to be really amazing. I really do.
And I think it's really kind of it's fundamental almost how we approach the times we're living in now, because we really are getting that fear vibe kind of thrown on us, and we have to remain optimistic. You know, I was saying to you before the show, so much negativity out there, you can't get away from it, and I've been trying to do shows on other topics, take people's minds off it, things like that. But I think it really is important that we do, despite everything, look forward positively, Chris, right? Because that in itself kind of, it almost changes the rules of the game. It kind of rigs it towards a better outcome if we expect it to be that way.
Yeah, exactly. And having that relentless optimism is so important. And then when you're dealing with people that are genuinely afraid, like the only thing I could really do is hold space for them. I can't be like, snap out of it, buddy. Get rid of the fear. You can't really do that. You have to, until someone's ready for that. But you really just have to hold space, listen to them, and do whatever you can to help. So when I go to the grocery store lately, those people that work there, like I give them so much support because I really appreciate them coming to their job. And people are kind of rude lately. They're wearing their gloves, and then when they go outside the grocery store, they just throw them into the parking lot. And I'm walking through like used gloves. It's kind of like
It's like a separation, isn't it? There's like more people getting more rapidly awakened, and then you see the darker, selfish kind of naivety of some people. Again, that's almost accentuated as well. It's almost like two different timelines or two different games running at once here. You know.
that's actually a really good way to put it. And a lot of people like that are being kind of offset because you've got the Schumann resonance on the planet that's rising. You've got cosmic energy that's coming in from the galactic central sun that hasn't come in as strongly because we don't have as many. The solar activity is a little bit less than it has been. We're in a solar minimum, so we're getting more stuff from the center of the galaxy. So people are like feeling the vibration, like they're feeling frequency being raised, and they're feeling a little bit anxious than they normally would, and not really being able to pinpoint what the reason is.
And you mentioned the law of one. Now, I've heard about this before, but talk to the audience, about the importance of this, the law of one.
Yeah, I mean, the law of one is that we really are all of the same consciousness. We are drops of consciousness in the ocean of awareness, but we're all this. We all have come from the same place, and if we do something to hurt someone, we're just hurting ourselves. If we do something to help someone and show them love, we're just reflecting that love back to ourselves. And at some point, we're going to remember that we're all the same. We're all from the same source. So that teaching is really important. And like quantum physics, like I mentioned, has a similar teaching with unified field theory. But yeah, basically how we are all connected. But we have the illusion that we're not connected. It's simply an illusion, like time is an illusion.
Oh,
But it's how we
absolutely.
navigate our.
Funny, I've been talking about time a lot lately. It's not funny actually because this is maybe this is why I was excited about doing this show today, because I recognize in you a part of me the way that you're going about this, and I think a lot of people around the planet right now are coming together with like-minded people. You know, I find
Yes.
this is in no way saying, oh, our chat over here is better than anyone else's chat, but the bonds that are made, and we've got a Discord server, and people hang out in there 24/7, and that is happening. I think people on the same frequency, maybe soul family. I don't know what you would call it. How would you explain that, Chris?
You know, it's funny because as you were talking to me, the first thing I said is Kev's talking about soul family and how we're connected that way. And yeah, I definitely feel that. And there are different soul families. So some of us might be in other soul families and others, some of us are related almost like rings going out, or like first cousin soul family, second cousin soul family. And then when you find someone that's like more of that closer soul family, it's just like you just are happy. You don't know
Yeah.
why you're happy. You're in a good mood and you want to spend time with that person, or do commerce with them, do business with them, or share things. So, and a lot of people are going to be like understanding that concept of soul family, and that's going to be another level as well. So many really interesting things are going to be coming out,
Oh,
or they're already
absolutely.
there.
You
I take that
know,
back to
what I look
there.
forward to, Chris, and I think you're almost a pioneer in it, you know, in your own way, is the science of consciousness. Because, you know, I don't think we're really anywhere close to really understanding that. You know, in fact, we're barely scratching the surface. And once we start to unlock the power of consciousness and how it does all connect us together, and how sometime soon, I really do believe that is the world we'll be living in, you know, where we'll be experiencing the power of our own minds. You know, that this time that we're in, it could go both ways though, right? Because you have been talking about the timeline insertions and how the bad guys from World War II are trying their best to make it so they won things. So, what way do you really see this going? Because you talked about the 100 monkeys. Do you think enough of us are waking up to make the positive outcome that we crave?
You know what? Because that's a good point. Because some people say, well, what percentage of the population has to wake up for this to happen? And it's not so much a percentage, it's who is waking up, because there are those of us that have more of an influence, or maybe emitting more consciousness energy, or whatever the situation is. Enough of those people wake up, and that might even only be 1% of the population. It might even be less than that. But regardless, like, we are on that trajectory where there may be some things, and there will be things that try to get inserted, but we're still going to be able to get by them. And I think we've got more surprises in store this year. That's definitely for sure, and not really that bad. Actually, I think there's going to be some good stuff that's coming up, and some stuff that kind of shocks people a little bit, but all keeping us on that positive timeline.
Sometimes you have to shock people to get them out of that normalcy bias, make them look at things a
Yes.
different way. I've found that. Yeah, you have to be
That,
like a bull in a china shop sometimes, a time and a place for it. But yeah, I forgot what I was even going to ask there. Random number generators. They came up in the
yeah.
video there. Do you do any work with them at all, Chris? Have you tried playing about with
Boy,
them?
yeah, I'll tell you, because especially back in the day when I was doing a lot of the coding for the software that I have, there'd be certain times I would need to generate a random number, and not for nothing, so many times it would generate the same random number between 1 and 100, and I'm like, 32 again?
Not
Wait,
very
32 again?
random. Yeah, not very random, right?
It didn't appear to be random, but yeah, the random number generators, they're a good indicator of what's going on around you. And there's some apps you can do with random number generators. There's some stuff on your phone where you do these experiments, and you can actually change the output of what should be random. So it's a very fascinating subject as well, that more attention should be given to.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a guy that phones up the show, and he swears by the fact that he can go out in the back garden and literally clear clouds just with consciousness, and I've got no reason to doubt him, Chris. You know, and I really do think if we know what we're doing and we're focused, our minds can come together. But
Yes.
in the past, and I want to get your take on it because you've really been researching this big time. I'll get your take on it. Whenever the conversation of Mandela effects come up, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have CERN mentioned in the next breath. In your research, have you found any reason for us to think that that facility, bearing in mind there's so many other particle accelerators out there, anything to do with it?
I'm going to say yes, and I'm gonna qualify that as well because you're right. It's not just CERN. They have something under the Mediterranean Sea. All the other large hadron colliders as well
Yep.
can fire off in a certain sequence and do certain things to open micro wormholes, and there's all kinds of things. And
Nothing can go wrong when you're opening micro wormholes in the lab, right? You know?
yeah, exactly. But my point is, like, so a lot of people, like, they focus their negative energy on CERN,
Yeah.
like it's bad, bad. But honestly, if Earth didn't want CERN here, it wouldn't be here because CERN actually serves another purpose, another higher purpose that people aren't quite aware of yet. But Earth is also, let's say we'll be basic and call it a game. It's also a place you can learn and you can grow and you can evolve. And there are those in the universe or the galaxy that kind of needs a little rehabilitation, and they are here to learn and be able to evolve to another level. And one of the things that CERN can do is actually almost acts like a electric fence, so to speak. So if they try to escape and leave the planet, CERN can turn on, hold them back. Unfortunately, it's been used for other purposes, but it's not all negative. And there's CERN has all the big cover stories about all the experiments that they're doing and blah blah blah. But to answer your question, yes, CERN can generate these Mandela effects along with other things that have authority to create them. So, but CERN is definitely a part of it, and CERN is not all bad.
Very well answered. And yeah, I had to kind of stop looking at it for a while because I had really always approached it from the very kind of evil, kind of this place of nastiness. And I love my technology. I'm a geek, Chris. And I had to step back for a while and get realistic, had a conversation with myself. And sure, all the things that we were talking about, they're definitely there. But at the same time, it's so multi layered. And I like the fact that there may be a good aspect to it as well. I look forward to pursuing that sometime in the future. But you mentioned that you've been going other locations. Is this you literally then going out there and playing the game to the fullest, trying to make your own changes along the way?
Yeah, so I'll think things will happen to provide synchronicities, and I do things with kinesiology, muscle testing, and so forth, and dreams, knowing certain places to go to. And when you understand that you have a higher self, and that higher self is helping to direct you and doing certain things when you go to these locations. But yeah, so I've been going to different locations. One was I'll probably make a video about it and provide more details, but it was in Sri Lanka, and it was the end of December for the Ring of Fire eclipse that went through the area. Went to a very special place called Lion's Rock, which is a very sacred site. There's takes like 2 to 3 hours to get up to the top. But if you ever looked into Lion's Rock, it's just like this big sediment that just juts up into the sky, and it's an amazing place. They call it the City of the Gods. So I went there, observed the Ring of Fire there, and then I also went to another location on my birthday, which was a Stargate. Called the Wheel of Time, and I had an experience there as well.
Is this
But
the kind of place
yeah,
that you would call a reality warping place of power?
that's a good question. The Wheel of Time is not considered reality warping. It allows you to travel.
Okay.
It's like a Stargate
So
kind
did
of a.
the ancients, with some of their monoliths and things like that, were they tapping into this Earth grid as well then?
Oh, the ancients were much more
Yeah.
advanced than us.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
so
yeah.
many ways.
I often
So
wonder
many
how
ways.
many almost senses they had. That sounds weird, but I think they had far more abilities than we did. You know, communication, telepathic, telekinesis. That could explain some
Absolutely.
of the moving of the blocks. You're there as well, then, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely as well. And as a matter of fact, there's something called Alexandria's Genesis, which is a very fascinating subject. People will say that the thing didn't exist, but basically, it's when people have violet eyes, violet colored eyes. Like Elizabeth Taylor had that perfume called Violet Eyes. But basically, there was an event in the sky in Alexandria, Egypt, flash in the sky, and people that were at a certain frequency had all of these um, psychic abilities turned on. Basically, 12 strands of their DNA got connected, which, by the way, we all should have at least 12 strands of our DNA connected. Um, but in any event, the 12 strands got connected, their eyes turned violet, their skin became pale. They didn't have any body hair from the neck down. They would live to an average of about 150, and they had like telekinetic powers where they could move large stones and that type of thing. So that's another concept that a lot of people don't, well, that's just a myth, like that never happened. But there are these type of events that have brought humanity to a certain point, and then they've kind of been backed off. But now I believe things are going forward with that, and we've got interesting comet activity going on.
Yeah.
I just post out about the latest comet Swan that was spotted, and reading into that was very interesting. So there's a lot of things going on, not just on the planet, but on the solar system, in the solar system as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, a lot of people are sure we're in the middle of like something we've never witnessed before, but it still feels like there's something coming. There's something else going on, and like you say, you can look at space. There's plenty going on up there, and as above, so below. Right? There's obviously going to be chaos up there. It's the holographic nature of reality.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like a good friend of mine, his name is Sean Bond. Um, it's funny, like he'll read the psychic newspaper, and he'll open it up, and like he's reading a newspaper, and like, oh, there's three armadas on its three light fleets of light ships on their way to Earth right now, and blah blah. So, but there's a lot of like activity going on, and I don't know what's going to happen, but it would not surprise me if there's some kind of, at least in much more increased UFO activity, in the next couple of months.
It's
Just so
crazy
much.
you bring that up, and I don't know how much I can say because what I watched was kind of it was remote viewing, and but the remote viewers are picking up on. You say in some of your material how we're like the biggest show in the universe right now.
Yeah, we are.
That's what they're kind of picking up on as well. You know, we're call it the Watchers, call it whatever. There's a lot of activity, and again, so we agreed to come here though, right? Would that be the case, or?
A lot of us are here for different reasons. Some of us are here for, it's hard to get in here, and we're here for a special type of education, how to become a creator. Some of us are here to, let's just say this is a level of the experience of the Earth game that might have gotten stuck, that needs to be, because like if you think about how we're trapped and how we live our lives from the time we're born to the time we die, and we go to school, and we get married, and we try to make ends meet, and it's a constant struggle, and blah blah blah, then we die, and then if you believe in reincarnation, we start the process over and over again. That's not what's supposed to be happening. We're multidimensional. We're having an experience here. We're not supposed to feel like we're trapped here. So I believe there's another group of people that are here to help awaken. And this is the time. Like now there's going to be teachers that step forward. There's going to be those that accept the mantle of responsibility to go to the next level and bring teachings and things to people that they've never experienced before. And like, I'm happy to do whatever part that I can do with that. I know there's many others as well, but I'm very, very happy to do what I can to help share whatever I can to help expand the consciousness of the planet.
Well, Chris, you are doing a fine job as it is, sir. And I look forward to us hanging out again sometime a lot sooner than 9 months this time, okay?
Yeah,
Because
that's
you've really reignited my kind of passion, fascination with the Mandela and how it ties in with this bigger picture, you know? How it's almost a reward of this holographic reality that we're in. Chris, let people know where they can find your work, how they can keep up to date with everything. Anything else you want to get out there, brother?
Yeah, thank you. I have a website, quantumbusinessman.com, which I just kind of put together quickly. I plan on making that a little bit better. But primarily now I have my YouTube channel, Quantum Businessman. So if you subscribe to that, that'll keep you up to date. And I'll tell you, when I start talking about other things like time cops, like there's a lot going on out there people don't know about. So I want to like bring some awareness to things that people will be like, oh, really? Well, now that makes sense because of that. So yeah.
Wow, time cops. Now, I hope the Men in Black play in with that at some point, right? But can I ask you before you go, and I meant to ask you before we wrapped up there, but I got too fascinated by what you were saying. 9/11, how significant do you think an event that was in the game?
That was a very, very, very significant event on a lot of different
Yeah,
levels.
I mean, that was a deliberate move on the board, wasn't it? Is that how you would see that?
Oh, to me, it's like that's not even a question. A lot of people still, believe the official story of how it happened with the terrorists, but no, there's so many. No, I mean everyone has their right to their belief system, but yeah, that was a very important event, and that led to a lot of my awakening. Because I started really questioning things.
Yeah.
With that event, because to me things weren't adding up.
Is that part of the almost cosmic trade-off when you make a big move like that? That there's going to be almost an opposite and equal reaction where, like you and me and millions others, it caused us to pause and think. Maybe not all at the same time, but that event was instrumental. And from the bad guy's point of view, that can't be a good thing, but almost in this magic that they're playing with, there must be some give and take, right?
Yes, exactly. And usually they always kind of win. But right now the give and take is like fading so much that they just can't pull off what they used to before.
Dude, you are absolutely on it. Please, please keep doing what you're doing, Chris. I've had an absolutely brilliant day. I've been looking forward to it because what I do is I leave it until the day of the show and then I go down that particular guest rabbit hole. And wow, I was sitting waiting, twiddling my thumbs about an hour before the show. I'm thinking, oh, it's nearly that time. Hurry up. Dude,
Cool.
thank you for doing what you do. And thanks for just the two of us connecting because I think we've done this before or we're meant to be doing this now. And if we've even caused one person out there to shift their point of attention to maybe go, then that's exactly why me and Chris are doing this show.
Exactly. Just to make you just raise the questions. Exactly.
Absolutely, brother.
Because the answers are within each of us. Within each of us, we already have the answers.
Absolutely fantastic. Dude, keep doing what you do, and we are out of here, folks. I'll be back tomorrow. Keep your eye on the channel. I'll be doing an early stream, and it's freaky. No, what day is it tomorrow? I don't even know what day it is tomorrow. What day is it tomorrow, Chris? Friday. It is Friday tomorrow, right?
Friday.
Yeah, you see, I'm even lost with days now. I forgot what timeline I was on. So I'm definitely getting out of here, folks. I'll be back tomorrow. Keep it real. Stay safe. And you know what's coming now. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo.